Welcome back to Politics Nation. The old saying goes, you can tell a lot about a man from the company he keeps. And that's certainly true for Willard Mitt Romney. Who can forget this picture of Willard and his posse, the old Bain gang, back in 1984? But they were his buddies back then, and they're still standing by his side. This man has given Romney almost $780,000 for all his political campaigns. This fellow served as Governor Romney's union-busting Secretary of Administration and Finance. And this guy is still one of Romney's best pals and one of his most trusted political advisors. And who can forget about another Bain buddy who told the New York Times we should have more inequality in America? He said, quote, "The wealth concentrated at the top should be twice as large. And having a small elite with vast wealth is good for the poor and the middle class." These are Willard's people, the 1%. They helped make him what he is today. They helped form his worldview. And what a bad view that would be for the country. Romney supports the Paul Ryan plan, which could devastate the middle class. A new report shows that Americans making between $50,000 and $100,000 a year would have to pay almost $4,500 more a year in taxes under this Ryan plan. But Willard's 1% buddies, they'd get $331,000 tax breaks. Make no mistake, these are the people Willard really cares about. He tries to tell us he cares about the middle class, but ever so often the inconvenient truth pops out of his mouth. And there's no question who he's really looking out for.
He wants another stimulus. He wants to hire more government workers. He says we need more firemen, more policemen, more teachers. It's time for us to cut back on government and help the American people.
Joining me now is Bob Shrum, a Democratic strategist who ran Ted Kennedy's race against Mitt Romney in 1994, and David Corn, Washington bureau chief for Mother Jones and also an MSNBC political analyst. He also is the author of Showdown about the Obama administration. Thanks to both of you for being here tonight.
Glad to be here, Reverend.
Bob, let's start with you. A new Bloomberg poll raised the question, who was more out of touch with average Americans? Overwhelmingly, 55% said Willard Romney was that candidate. What does that say about his past experience in business and his future in this race?
Well, first it says that American voters are pretty smart, that they've seen this guy, and the more they see of him, the more they get the sense that he's out of touch. Secondly, this is a guy, and the Obama campaign, I think, is doing a very good job of creating this narrative, who conducted himself a certain way in business at Bain, who then went on as governor of Massachusetts, where his record on job creation was terrible, and where he outsourced jobs just as he had done at Bain. And I think they're going to put this all together into a story which is going to culminate in the other thing you referred to, which is his support of these Ryan budget plans. Look, this is the second poison chalice that Paul Ryan has given to Mitt Romney. The first was the plan to end Medicare as we know it. Right. I hope Romney goes out and campaigns on this. He won't, of course. He'll try to say he's saving Medicare. He'll try to say he's cutting taxes for everyone. The facts say otherwise.
So I guess he's not the flip-flop I thought he was. He's consistent about this stuff. Let me ask you, David, what was also interesting in this Bloomberg poll is 45% say that they're better off now than they were in 2009. 36% say they're worse off. That speaks a little differently than I thought and favors the president.
Those are very good numbers for the Obama campaign and for the White House. If those are the numbers come Election Day, the president will have a very good chance of winning. But the poll is interesting because the poll also says that people still disapprove of the president when it comes to his handling of the economy. They like him. They say they're better off now. They don't like the direction the country's going in. They're still worried that things will be worse off a year from now than they are now. There's a lot of insecurity, economic insecurity that people are feeling. They feel the president hasn't done as much as they had hoped he would do to make the economy better, although they recognize it has gotten a little bit better, and they do blame George W. Bush more than the president for the current troubles. So there are a lot of conflicting sentiments and popular opinion now, and the whole whole Romney campaign strategy is to just focus on the anger, get voters venting in November, get them upset, angry. If they're going to be venting, they're going to be mad, they're going to take it out on the president. The president wants them to make a rational decision between two sets of policies represented by two different types of candidates. So I think Romney still has a good fight to be made here, and the president still has a long way to go before he has another term.
Yes, and I think you're right. When you look at even when they talk about the vision, 49% prefer President Obama's economic vision, only 33% Mitt Romney's. But, Bob, let me go back to Massachusetts. You ran the campaign. Ted Kennedy ran against Mitt Romney. Romney has said over and over again that he won't raise taxes, following the orthodoxy of the far-right wing. But in a Meet the President interview in 2007, he admitted that he imposed what he called fees as the governor of Massachusetts. Now, some of the fees Romney proposed, and a few he managed to pass as governor, was Romney wanted a fee on the blind, to charge them for a certificate of blindness and for a photo ID. But the legislature scrapped his proposal. He also proposed a $100 fee for the mentally handicapped to pay for a state medical assessment of their disabilities. This, too, was scrapped by the legislature. But here's what he succeeded in passing: a fee on volunteer EMTs and firefighters. Certification fees doubled in that area. Fee on nurses, increased fee for nursing applications. Fee on hairdressers, increased hairdresser and barbershop license fees. Fee on auto repair shops, quadrupled the fee for a car repair shop license. Fee to change your name, more than doubled the fee to change your name to $150. So while he's talking about I won't increase taxes, things that people need to operate and conduct business, many things that would be for small business people and the middle class, he raised them, in some cases quadrupling or doubling.
You know, everything you just mentioned, Reverend, hits the middle class and hits working class people very hard. At the same time, he was creating tax breaks for people at the top. It's exactly what he would do as president. And that's why I think the narrative of choice that the Obama campaign is laying out is so important. David's right. Romney would like this to be a pure referendum. But when you look at that Bloomberg poll and you ask people whose vision do you prefer on the economy, when you give him a binary choice, he wins that. Obama wins that. So what you can't let Romney do is just run away from all the issues, run away from all the substantive differences, and run away from Bain, as he always does, and just say, if you're mad, if the economy isn't where you want it to be, well, give me a try. Could things really get worse? The answer is yes, they could get a lot worse. And what he wants to do to the middle class, what he wants to do to ordinary folks in this country, while comforting the comfortable at the very top of the income scale, is an outrage. And I think the more the Obama campaign pushes this, and they've taken some criticism the last couple of weeks for this, the better off they're going to be.
What David talking about comforting the comfortable, if you look at Romney's tax plan, the bottom 20% would see an increase of $149. The top 1% would see a decrease in taxes of $725,716. How's that for comfort for the comfortable?
Well, I mean, this is just the Republican playbook. It's the George W. Bush taxes were disproportionately weighted in a similar fashion. The Ryan plan is as well, Romney's plan. And at some point, Americans have to sort of break the deadlock here in Washington over this fight between two ways of looking at the government. One, the Republican plan is basically to say the economy stinks, and the reason is that government is bad, and so we have to cut taxes, cut services, and everything's going to go just well. And Obama's vision is, of course, no tax breaks for those at the top, preserve tax cuts for the middle class, and invest in education, infrastructure. You know the whole list: innovation, R&D,
yes.
And it's a fundamental. I mean, this is what the president. This is a choice he's tried to set up for a year and a half now. It's a fundamental choice,
Bob,
and it's going to be up to
David,
the voters to make the change.
I have to leave it there. Bob Shrum and David Corn. We're out of time. Thanks for your time tonight.
Sure thing.